Welcome, everybody. In the spirit of the talk show title, we're going to get high. So, if you out there and you smoke weed, pack your bowl, open your windows, light your blunts, get your lighters, do your dabs, and let's get stony baloney Post Maloney. Do you listen to Post Malone?
A little bit. Back before the whole, should I say, DMCA fun fiasco,
Oh,
I
no
listened
shit.
to, I used to have a nice little chill playlist and really helped me get a broader horizon of other music that other people were listening to. Like, oh, dude, you don't know this, but you don't know Kid Cudi, you don't know this. Like,
Mm,
oh shit, I don't. Like, it made me think outside the box when it came to music. It was really nice.
that's cool, man. I'm a bit, relatively speaking, newer to the stoner community, right? I started smoking in late 2016, early 2017. But as you can tell, it's taken my life by storm. A lot of the stuff we talked about off stream in terms of it bringing positive effects have really changed my life in a lot of positive ways. I've embraced a lot of outside of what my normal box would be ways of thinking and
Newer
viewing the
experiences
world. Right,
otherwise you would have shied away
right,
from.
right. And
Absolutely.
I'm dealing with my anxiety in better and more healthier ways. It's pretty cool.
And
It's
that's
pretty
really
cool.
what we always want to say is it's self medication.
Right.
Is it's a way that we be a better version, we believe, of ourselves that'll get us to try new things or experience new things in a positive outlook.
Right.
And
Well
that's the
said.
reason we're trying to highlight it.
I grew up Southern Baptist.
Okay?
And
That's interesting.
yeah, it made a big difference. And I grew up in a household that was drugs and weed and everything is bad. And if you do these things, not only are you a bad person, but you're going straight to hell.
Right.
Right?
So
You're
you not
going
only you saw what would happen with
right.
it, the whole 9 yards. Okay.
I tried weed, and it made me question everything else. Everything else that I had learned growing up, I was like, well, this fixes everything. This solves everything, right? I got that hyper millennial ADHD that slows down enough just for me to fucking think. I got the fucking the anxiety that makes me want to stay in bed all day every day. And I smoke some weed. I was like, wow, I'm like chill, bro. Like I feel good inside, and this has never
Right?
happened before. What do I do? So yeah, that was a big thing. It made a big difference in my life, and so it
Love
caused me
hearing that shit.
to kind of question everything. Yeah, well, and that's apparently a pretty big cliche with weed, which I get because it is that kind of revolutionary, and we've been taught, especially as
Well,
Americans,
there's been
that
the stigma on it for so long that
right.
we're just now breaking out, seeing
Thanks,
the
Richard
clouds part
Nixon.
where people are saying like, "Oh shit," and yeah, they're actually getting their own opinions of it before they're just had everybody else's opinion, which was, I don't want to say it's for you, try it, kids. I'm just saying,
Right.
if have you ever listened to everybody? Like, no,
Right.
what? Everybody has their own experience with it.
Right,
Yeah, so
right. And I think everybody should try smoking at least once. And this is a beautiful segue for something very important. We need to do a bit of a disclaimer here. The show, myself and I'm assuming X-Ray here, doesn't we don't endorse any sort of underage smoking or consumption. Be safe and have fun to those of you who can. Please follow all your local laws and restrictions in regards to weed and alcohol and everything that we'll be talking about today.
at this point, I agree with Bowborne 100%. Kids, obviously, over 18 for most everything, 21 for other things, but um, yeah, I started
Developed.
smoking as of 24. I was like
Yeah,
in my 20s, but
right.
also like to point out, I don't think that you mentioned it, but it's also good at this point. I'm also a native to California, where it is now residential and recreational, medically legal, which I actually have my medical card, but we're not going to get
Nice.
into that. If it wasn't really statewide recognized, I really wouldn't be
Right.
socially smoking
Right.
as a thing. And that's another thing we'll probably end up talking about. But because it
Absolutely it
is
is, yeah.
a legal recreational activity in my state, I don't feel there's any reason I can't relax in a weird COVID environment where I'm really not allowed to leave the house and interact with a friend of mine.
And as most people know, I live in Colorado. I'm pretty outward about that. The biggest question I get is, "Oh, do you smoke a lot of weed because you live in Colorado?" And I hate the cliche questions, but more so I hate answering yes reluctantly to the cliche
True,
questions like, "Yes, I
right?
do smoke buckets and buckets of weed nonstop." Thanks,
I will
man.
say the person that asks you if you smoke weed is a kindred spirit. A
So
Christian person that
sometimes,
doesn't give a fuck is most likely not going to ask you off your first, not going to try to find that as a connection and be like, all right, I might have that in common with a person, whether it be
Hmm.
a sport or a music. That's just a recreation activity they might want to talk about with you.
Thought that popped into my head. I want to get out there that we, just out in the universe. I wonder if there's any correlation between states where weed
It's
is
already working.
recreationally legal. Wow, that's a good point. And their overall state happiness.
I almost think I mean, statistically,
There
you'd
has to
want
be,
to think
right?
so,
There has
so,
to be.
but I know we could probably look at the tax revenue from all the people that have taxed it, and that shit makes it all them smile and
Yes,
happy
dude.
too. So,
Yes,
I
yo.
mean, we know it's not making them sadder, right? Like, if the
Good
business
point.
isn't profiting, we're not growing
Good point.
exponentially because we're so man, I'm smoking the ganj, man. No,
Oh,
it's not
not the
like
devil's
taxes, it's
lettuce.
not DMV. No, it's the good shit. So, I would naturally assume if the industry is growing, then the happiness is definitely.
We can just put a pin in it, like tax dollars too, right? Colorado, what was it? Oregon and Washington were like the first big three that kind of did the thing. I bet you all of those other governors were like looking
Mhm.
through all the tax documents, and they were looking through like all the news, and they're like, they get to this one report. They take off the glass. Colorado and Washington made how much money? Oh shit, Oregon too. Okay,
I wish I looked it up so I had more research. Like I
you know
don't know
what?
how many
Stand by.
recreational
What do you
states.
want me to Google, homie? We're prepared for
How
this.
many states right now are recreational marijuana? Because I
Okay.
believe last I checked, 33 are medical out of the 50, which means
Oh shit.
CBD is allowed, not necessarily THC, but CBD is sold in state. So that's more than half of the
True.
states that are allowing some form of cannabis.
Big shout out to autocorrect.
Dude, I don't know how people live now without dude,
Especially
so
when I'm stoned,
I know
bro.
how to
Stony
speak, but
baloney.
man, I forgot how to type on some words, I
No
do
shit.
swear.
And I can tell you that in Colorado, at least, there are cities where pretty much the city's entire what is it measured in GDP for cities? So what's the standard of wealth for a city? Is it GDP?
I
Check it out.
right,
Check it out. Google.
probably.
What's the standard of wealth for a city? Welcome, X-Ray, to the reason I started this show.
To promote Google? Like,
Not, yeah, right. In terms of an overlord, I'm pretty happy with a what I give them versus a what they give me sort of situation for Google, you know? Part of me was really excited to see what this was going to be like in terms of us starting out sober, relatively speaking, and seeing how things progressed the more and more Stony
seeing if
Baloney we
we'd
got.
evolve as we
Right,
continue. Oh
right.
yeah. See if we can Doug Benson this shit out and be professional. If we're just gonna be like, bro, I don't fucking know.
Bro, and then just giggle, and then like it's gonna be 30 minutes of giggling. Thank you,
I
thank
can
you,
giggle a little bit.
Lightworks. Yeah.
Most of the content creators I know that are influencers that are the people I know are not like just sitting here smoking and doing like, oh, I'm high. Like I know people that have become partner on Twitch because I smoked a blunt, follow for follow, come chill. It's like cool, man. You did your thing.
Yeah,
But
I didn't.
most people I know are doing awareness,
Yeah,
are bringing
just like saying,
like
hey,
just information
yeah,
to the platform, and answering, fielding questions, talking about it, letting them know, hey, I'm a mom, or hey,
oh, those are big, yeah.
I'm a kid at this, or hey, I'm a granddad, or I'm a doctor that does this. I'm an acupuncturist. I'm not a fucking criminal.
I'm a
I'm
person.
not
I'm a
an
I'm a fucking
ex-con,
person
right?
just
I
like
am
you,
a
bro.
human being. I'm
Right.
your next door neighbor.
Well said.
I'm your fucking brother. Like I'm just you. That I could be you. I'm you happy right now. That's what I'm the
Yeah,
you
yeah.
should be right now. I feel so good about myself. I hope you
Mm-hmm.
one day feel as good as I do
That's a
right now.
good way to put it. I'm you, but every time my brain encounters adversity, instead of hitting a spiral of downward trajectory and anxiety, I think about the bright side. When I was growing up, before I was smoking, I had a bit of an anger problem, right? Like I got mad at things really fast. It didn't really impact the way that I didn't project that anger outward very often, in like physical or mean ways. But like I got mad fast. And I that's the biggest thing I noticed a huge difference about when I was smoking was that I just don't get mad at shit anymore, and everything is just funnier. Everything is funnier.
Can I ask were you just mad before? Did you have any kind of did you have to
Like
hit
generally
walls, or
speaking, no,
would you
no.
generally get in fights, or would you just be like upset and be like, I'm just so fucking pissed off. all the goddamn time,
Oh, I see
and
what
I
you
have
mean.
no way to release. Like there was like
On my
before you
lows,
had cannabis. Yeah, what did you do then?
on my lows, because it wasn't an all the time thing. I wasn't just like walking around
Right. I get you.
seething.
Yeah, you're
And
well,
there are
other than
folks
being
that
like a
are right,
teenager, which we're
right,
just, we're fucking
right,
hormonal. I get that.
or your
Right.
early 20s where everything sucks and you're like, wow, this is nowhere
And I
near
don't see
what
you
all of
as
these
that
people
alpha
planned.
male person that's an issue. So
Well, the
yeah, I
funny
can
thing
see you being
is
generally mad.
that's totally a post weed bow kind of thing. Not that I was kind of the alpha male type before, but I definitely was dominated by those tropes, by the typical shackles of masculinity. Oh, that was fucking. I'm gonna put that in a book, dude. Shackles of
That was good.
masculinity. Thank
That's the
you.
cover right there. That's
Oh,
at least a
band
bad
name,
cover.
band name. Yes, great minds, bro.
So you were talking about, I'm going to kind of go roll back to the beginning a little bit.
Yeah,
You
let's
were talking
digress.
about, it's like just digress a little bit because I still have I have unfinished
Send it.
business with your
This is
beginning
why
story here.
I'm. This is why I love to have guests because you help keep me on
Um,
track.
you talked about you grew up in a, more conservative household and didn't really start smoking until what, 2016, 2017.
Right.
I want to know what first, why? What was the reason that out of all the time you're like, all right, I'm gonna smoke this? Or was it just like,
That's a good
was it
question.
like a day? Was it like, oh, Bruff was here and you're like, he just hands you the thing, you're like, fuck it. And it's like, yeah, I want to know, like, what's that day like for you?
It's funny you mention that because there have been situations where Bruff has brought something up or shown me something and I'm like, yeah, okay. But it was not weed. So weed was one of those things where I didn't do for the stigma that we had talked about earlier growing up, but also just because I didn't have any interest and I didn't really know what life was like on this side of things in terms of being able to think straight and not feel the anxiety and the pressure and all the stuff we talked about it helps with. So it wasn't something that really called to me. There
But
was
that's why I was curious. I was curious if you wanted to go for that or if
right,
that's
right.
why you like, yeah.
So in 2014, I quit my job because I was a store manager at GameStop, and that was just buckets of stress. Um, and I had decided to go back to school and stream.
Too many people wanting more money for fucking Super Mario or something?
Too many people who were really pissed off about the fact that I wanted to give them $3 for their stuck to the side of their Xbox disc only version of Army of Two, of which I already had 16 copies of, bro. Like, yeah, yeah.
Got it.
So
How dare you not
yeah,
give me more
right,
money? Okay,
right.
okay.
So I just got tired of it, and I was in like one of the more dangerous cities in our state, and which is hilarious to say to me. But so things got bad. Like I'm talking about robberies and like over in burglaries, and it was just too much stress to handle for less than 30K a year, no benefits. And I was like, okay, fuck this. I'm gonna go back to school and be an EMT, and I was married at the time. So, my wife worked in healthcare. So even though the topic of weed had come up, it had quickly been shot down, and we can't have weed in this house because I work in healthcare. I was like, okay. So it just never was a possibility. And then there was a day where one of my old friends, was visiting my brother who lived in the next apartment over from me. That's actually Torgoth in chat. He and the wife and kids were out, and Torgoth was there, and a mutual friend was going to his house, and they're like, hey, I'm gonna go over to Torgoth's house, you want to come over? I'm gonna smoke some weed. And I was like, I wasn't working and I was streaming, and I had all my homework done, and I wasn't streaming that day. I said, yeah, I will come over and try some weed. This motherfucker rolls up into the house with a bag of, I shit you not, 15 McDoubles, 40 chicken nuggets, and 3 large fries, and a whole bunch of weed. So we sit on the couch and we get real stony baloney, and we watch movies or talk or whatever. I honestly don't remember, and it was pretty cool. And it was a
So
really
it's
cool.
basically, and that's what's funny is it sounds like it was lack of options.
Yeah, lack of and this was in like 2014, so that was a cool day. I told my wife about it when she came home, and she flipped the fuck out. Just flipped the fuck out. Like,
Oh,
yo,
did you?
I
Very
can't
important.
believe you.
She smoked at he smoked at your house, or did you go over there?
I smoked at their house.
Okay, cool. So
Yeah.
that your house didn't smell like weed.
No,
Okay, that
not even
was
a
okay.
little
I was
bit. No.
curious. Okay.
And so flipped out, and like said, you know, you've jeopardized my entire future, our career. Like, how dare you? And besides, not to mention what it does to your brain, I don't want to be married to a dummy, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, oh, fuck, you're right. Oh my God. Because of course you're right, because you're my wife and I don't care about what anybody else says. And then a few years later, 2016, I got divorced. And which is this whole other bag of drama we can go into some other time. And then I was living on my own, in my
So you're
own
saying you
situation.
literally smoked one time and for a day, and then stopped for 2 years?
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
And then,
Okay.
but I remembered how it made me feel. So I would think about it sometimes when I was like really stressed out. I was like, wow, I remember that one time I smoked weed. Like I felt so chill and like I was just hanging with my best friends and everything was great. And then in 2016 when I got divorced, it was a big way to help with the stress and the anxiety of getting divorced because that was a big one for me. That was like a big life event that like really changed a lot for me. And one of my friends had just haphazardly mentioned like, hey, dude, like, you want to go smoke? And I was like, all of that time I had spent thinking about it was given the sudden opportunity to go do the thing, and then it just fucking spiraled from there. 4 weeks later, I was throwing up 24 ounces of cookies and cream milkshake because I took the first dab of my life and coughed for 45 minutes straight, dude.
God,
Like,
you went hard early.
dude,
Okay,
I
shit.
did. Well, it was because
Well, also, I
somebody.
couldn't imagine starting at 27 because all that was out at
Right,
that point, right?
right.
Yeah.
It's like Apple stores for weed out there, dude.
No, yeah, that was a whole different time. I couldn't imagine starting then just being like a whole new
That's a
world.
hundred
Like
percent
what the
was. That's a
wow.
100% what it was. I asked my
Yeah.
friends to Aladdin me on this magic carpet ride of drugs, and honestly, I will say this is for the record too. At least as far as I'm concerned, weed was definitely a gateway drug, right? Like it was 100% a gateway drug,
See,
because
for me, it wasn't.
well,
A
for me,
hun-
it was because
Not
I
at
was
all.
like, wow, I grew up and Dare and the police and God, they were all wrong about this weed thing. What else are they wrong about? And then I'm eating these things that come out of the ground and I'm eating these little pieces of paper and I'm like, what the fuck? This is awesome. And then it like, now I'm the person I am now. Just like, and I'm the person I was then, just
Willing to try
happy.
shit, right?
Yeah, expanding my worldview, expanding my my spiritual view. I've gone from Southern Baptist to atheist to more agnostic, right? Just
Okay.
in my travels there. But yeah, no, wheat is 100% a newer thing for me. You said you started pretty late in life too, right? You started when you were older than a high
I
schooler.
started when I was in X-ray working 20s, I don't know, early 20s. It was like 22, 23. I forget the exact age I started.
So you have immediate experience with weed and healthcare then. Specifically, help us dissolve the stigma that weed makes you unable to function or think, right?
Oh, this is good. Okay, so this actually goes great with my beginning story. Let me say, I first started smoke, like I had the same stigma as you.
Okay.
I grew up with it as around me, but always as like this is the thing that's bad. Like the fight against drugs is marijuana, and this whole like what the fuck is the problem with
Right.
marijuana? And my dad actually smoked. My mom was a drinker; she was on pills. My dad was a smoker, and he was on he did some little cannabis.
Okay.
So I associated all this shit with being an asshole and being
Oh,
not
okay.
able to take care of your shit. So I was like, I had all these
I don't want to be
stigmas
that
on my
person.
own personal
Okay.
shit, right?
Okay.
Where I don't want to be this person. And it wasn't till much later that I figured out, oh, it wasn't this, and this. It's these people were assholes. These people couldn't
Ah.
handle their shit. Like everybody's different. So I had my own shit I had to get over. But I remember being offered it in school. I remember at one point walking from
Mm-hmm.
home, "Hey, bro, you want some trees? What the fuck is that?" Like,
You're like, homie, there's
no,
plenty of
I
trees.
don't know what trees are, but I'm good. Like, I don't need broccoli. Like, I don't know what's happening. Like, I remember at one point somebody, it was the whole, "Hey, man, do you have some what? Oh yeah, I got like a bunch. I'll go get you some." Oh man, I can't because my mom's there. Like, I just remember it was always around my house, but I never really wanted to be that as my thing. So at one point, while I was working, I had some time off. I was living in I was like at a lower point in my life, but I feel like I was still at a high spot when I think about it
Ah,
now.
I
But
see what you did there.
I was living in a warehouse, but I
Okay.
was working in X-ray. So I was like, well, I was saving money, but I wasn't doing great, and I didn't have anything to do. I was on a weekend. It was
Sure.
Saturday, and a buddy was like, "Hey, you want to come over for a barbecue?" I finally figured out I'm staying there after staying there for like a year, and I'm like, "All right, this is awkward. Fucking barbecue, like that sounds great." And he decided we to smoke, and I said, "Fuck it. You know what? I have nothing else to do." I just remember, I just like you that feeling of all the worry, all the pain, all the anxiety I had, all the weird shit I didn't even know was an issue with my social, like, awkwardness went away,
Oh, nice.
and I could the first thing we did was a project. My first day I was smoking, I was doing things. We fixed, like, we went and fixed a TV, we went and moved a couple things, I think we, like, trimmed the bushes and shit. And every time I've smoked since, and most days, I usually function very well.
Mm-hmm.
I like specifically to go and do things
Yes, me too.
because make your Monday go do the dishes. Hi. Guess what? Because you're gonna have to do the dishes anyway.
Yeah.
But listen to music and be so much more
Right. You're
entertained.
gonna be shaking your ass, and honestly,
You're gonna be
yes.
actually having a good time doing something. Otherwise, you're just like, this is the worst part of my
Right.
day.
Something you
It's
got to
not the
do
worst
anyway.
part of my
Right.
day. It's just a part of my day, and
Right.
that's what changes when I'm smoking. Don't drive, don't do something unsafe, don't operate heavy machinery if you can't handle what but I have like a weed whacker. I love to smoke and handle my weed
Oh, I
whacker.
bet that would
I
be
love
cool.
to smoke and handle my leaf blower.
Yeah.
There are things that I'm able to do where I function, I see what I'm supposed to do with the job, and then I smoke. But if I can't do it, I do what I'm supposed to do. I've put my computer
Well
together.
said.
Hi. I do most things hi, but
Right.
no. As far as like the medical world and like what they'll tell you is, of course it's a chill. There's obviously sativa and indica, things that are going to bring you up, things are going to, bring you down. But it's all in what you do with it. It's all in your reaction. I
Right.
really hate the stigma of look at the lazy,
Mm-hmm.
pot smoking stoner guy. It's like, do you know how hard I
Right.
fucking work?
Right.
And the
Stoned.
best
Stony baloney.
way, yeah,
Yeah.
because I'm stoned, and that's why I tell people, like, I smoke every hour on the hour. So my 1 hour day is consistent to my 8 hour day.
There you go.
Because otherwise, my general labor day, I'm exhausted
Right.
at 5 hours, 6 hours, 7 hours. You think you're gonna get the same me at 8 hours? But if
Right.
I'm smoking and I'm like, let's fucking do this shit. Only got one more hour. Woo!
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Where'd the other seven
Look
go?
at
This
this
has
guy
been
kicking
awesome.
ass. Yeah, no,
How
I
many times
wanna
in your
kill that
job have
stigma.
you just been doing shit and you just got completely side-reeled or distracted by something really fucking cool, like a pretty rock or awesome bug or really pretty plant? Would you say that, like,
Not really.
no, no?
Not if I'm working. I'll
I,
take in a view. I'll
yeah.
take in a I mean, I'll definitely, like, enjoy nature. That's why I
But
love
you're
this
able to like
area.
stay on task and just like the stigma
If I
also of
took
people being able
5
to
minutes, they
focus
wouldn't give a
or
shit
not
if I went,
focus.
"Look at the squirrel."
Yeah, yeah,
Because 'Cause I'd probably at the end, they went, "Dude, I looked at the squirrel for 5 like, this was crazy. Like, look what it" I would talk about it for 3 minutes, you
yeah,
know? Like,
yeah, yeah. Well, so and that really again just goes to break another stigma that folks who smoke are also distracted and can't focus on things, right? Like you just mentioned, the 8 hours are the same for you, and you're able to kind of focus and get done what you need to get done, even though you're high, right? And again,
right.
I'm not advocating for anybody to like do their jobs high. Only like X-Ray said best. Only you know what your tolerance is and what you can handle, and these are our personal experiences. I personally,
For
I
instance, I didn't do X-ray job. I didn't do my X-ray job high, and I
yeah.
specifically don't do blacksmithing high. I don't
There
like
you
to
go.
handle hot iron while I'm
Fair.
high,
Where
but
you're
I'll
stoned, yeah.
smoke right after. I'll smoke before. There's
Right.
no reason I'm gonna smoke and do like I would have to be totally because it's all precision hits, so it's different types of relaxant. You know what I mean?
Yeah, good way to word it. Don't get me wrong, as we've already seen here several fucking times. I do. I wander off
That's
sometimes.
why I was saying we kind of get a little
Right. Right.
distracted, but we more like drift because
Right. Because we come back usually.
I call it the spider web, where I have like 8 different thoughts that all
Okay.
kinda go and I can follow them, but I can always come back to the main one
Oh,
usually.
that's a good way
But
to word it.
it's yeah, hard for other people to follow it on Stone though. They're like, "What the fuck is this guy talking about?" I'm like,
Yeah.
"Dude, I'm ready."
The tangents, yeah.
Yep.
That's a really good metaphor, and I would use it if I were capable of retracing my steps. Sometimes I can, sometimes I can go back to work, but sometimes I'll do one of those wanders, and then I lost it, it's gone, and it either comes back later or it doesn't. But to that point, like I'm not a person who will smoke when they're working just because of that. Um, like it would help with stress, anxiety, and again, like you said, right after. And I have like a pretty technical job where I have to kind of stay focused and like be ready at a moment's notice. So typically speaking, that's not for me. But I've had jobs where it was right. Like I used to work in a warehouse and like a picker at a warehouse.
Okay.
You drive around on a forklift and just put shit
That's
on
why
a
I
pallet.
started in my X-ray was on in a warehouse for a year, so that's awesome.
There you go. There you go.
I
What we have in
love
common.
driving a forklift, dude. It was
Well,
just
so
so
so here's
cool.
the thing. I wasn't smoking weed when I worked in the warehouse, but
Neither did I.
I
No,
think back on it now and imagine that if I was smoking weed in that warehouse, that job would have been
probably.
infinitely better. And I was making buckets, but I was always exhausted, and I couldn't balance that. And I just imagined that if I were smoking weed on that job, that I probably would have kept that job because that would have been a much cooler job. When I'm streaming, I have to be smoking, and sometimes I can consider streaming working, but for the most part, I don't. Right? It's more just turning on a camera and seeing what happens. Because when I'm not streaming, I'm still talking to myself. So much so that I'm one of those folks who mutes my Discord when I stream. So I'm talking to the stream and I mute my Discord so people don't fucking hear what I'm saying. Like that's one of the things I don't like to see on people when they're streaming, is if like they're streaming and they have their Discord going and they're like, oh hey so and so, thanks for the sub. Well, the 11 people playing Among Us with them are like, bro, focus.
Dude,
Um,
I don't like when other people because at least one of those other fuckers are streaming most likely as well, and then have to hear that is so annoying.
You mentioned that you wanted to avoid talking about the state of Twitch, as at least as it relates to the bannable stuff and the DMCA stuff. Are you okay talking about the state of Twitch when it comes to weed, or do you want to avoid the state of
Oh
Twitch
no, that's fine.
altogether? Okay.
No, totally fine.
Well, I've been wanting to do an episode about Twitch and weed for a long time because I noticed that you turn off your face cam when you're smoking, right, on Twitch.
I do.
And I usually do the same thing, but like you said, there are streamers who are partners who just fucking smoke blunts with their stream. I have not witnessed one of those yet, so I'm glad that you have because I have been looking, and apparently I've just been looking poorly.
It's funny. I've seen the same people that I've seen go follow for follow, dabs for subs, the whole
Whew,
fucking sellout
I
bullshit.
would die.
Yeah, right. I'm just like, dude, how much money do you have to sell on dabs for subs, bro? Like, no. Like the they got partner, they got big, and once they got there, they slowed way the
Oh,
fuck down.
so I
They
wonder.
made it like 10, 15, 20, if at all. Like they still smoked, but it wasn't as obvious. So, and I don't know.
You
Everything
don't know
that
if
I
there was
know
like
on
a
Twitch says
conversation about
it's
it.
fine, but I don't know if they got message to say calm the fuck down, but they still do it, so it must not, or if they just generally couldn't keep up. I
So,
really don't
question for
know.
you: did you read your affiliate contract?
Of course I do, Bowborne. I read absolutely everything fully that Twitch gives me. You know this.
Wasn't the trap that it had sounded like it was meant to be, but well said, well navigated nonetheless. Me too, and I wonder if the partner agreement does mention something
Okay.
about.
Okay, let me clarify. I read absolutely everything that Twitch gives me fully, but my memory sucks.
Oh, okay. Well, don't like a responsible content creator,
Ah, I
you
love it.
have a copy saved on your desktop to reference with a searchable database of words
Oh,
at all
yeah, at all
times.
times. If I
At all
ever need
times.
to worry, yeah, of course. If I ever forget a phrase or a word or, yep,
Right.
a tone.
Well, I mean, and I definitely, I'll tell you, I don't think I would stream sober, because sober me, while still as talkative and engaged, is a lot more likely to hyper focus on the game and not necessarily like
Here's an
commentate,
honest
right?
question that I would like
Okay.
to ask that
Okay.
I've kind of gotten into as just I don't know if it's like as an adult or as because as a content creator it might kill certain people's love of gaming or how you game on and off stream depending. When it comes to video games now, can you smoke when you cuz you smoke in game?
Yeah.
Do you want to smoke? Like do you want to game sober? Like do you want to smoke and
No.
not game? Like
No, I don't. I there are
'cause I don't
times too
wanna
I
game
do.
sober anymore. I
No, I
kinda
don't.
wanna game
Hi.
high.
Yeah, I don't
If
game
I had
sober.
to go a long time sober, I think it'd really be hurtful.
Important to
I
me, right?
tried to just double back to that so I could learn it so I went a little bit about that so I could figure out why you started smoking, but I didn't ask why you started
You're
streaming
right.
and smoking, and I am curious, like you did touch about, why you don't at currently
Stream that
stream.
much. Yeah.
No,
Well,
not only stream, but stream and smoke, like, why
oh, I
you
see what you
go
mean. I see what you
offline
mean.
to smoke? Because 'cause I've smoked like I am currently a few times. My comfortability with it is getting increasingly more comfortable as the laws are becoming more flexible, but seeing as I started and it was absolutely illegal, it would have been it would have been idiotic in my
Oh,
eyes to
I
be
see.
like,
So you
"Hey,
mean
look at me."
you mean like literally
So
turning off your camera while you're smoking,
right, I'm
like
curious
literally creating content while
as
consuming cannabis.
you still
I
are,
see. I
yes.
see. I see. I see. So yeah. I mean, the talk show is a bit of a different thing. That exists for other reasons, and I figured I talk about weed enough, and I mean, I really did want to talk about how it pertained to streaming because when before I did get a bit of a community, which happened with Guild Wars 2, I did just stream and smoke. I did the just smoke a joint and play Guild Wars and drop the ash on the fucking wrist while I'm being all sweaty PvPing or take a rip from the bong. But then I did start turning off my camera when I was smoking. As I started to do a bit more research about it and figured out that typically speaking, it's a little bit more federally leaning in regards to the way that Twitch handles things. And I heard through the grapevine because I applied for an ArenaNet partnership, right? A content
Okay.
creator partnership. That's why back when I was pulling like 40, 50 people a day and like streaming every single day PvP, 5, 6 hours a day and really like engage with the community.
On your grind at that point,
Right,
right?
right. I felt like it was a good time for it, and I never heard back from them. But then there were other streamers who did the same thing as I did and had the same volume I did who applied that did get it. So I asked around because my background is after the whole the school thing that we talked about earlier. I got really big into the game design industry and the game development industry. So I know like a lot of behind the scenes folks. So I asked around and asked for people's opinions on what they thought. And there was a brief mention of, hey, like I get that it's legal where you live, but maybe it had something to do with the fact that you smoke weed while you're streaming. And yes, it's legal, and yes, you're not breaking any laws, but also a lot of these companies who were looking for outward facing representations or sponsors or Twitch, even if they're looking at a partnership application, they're going to also review any liabilities that you bring to them or their platform. And a lot of these folks are accountable to not just the state that we live in terms of legality, right? Like, for example, there are a lot of uh, um, Middle Eastern and Asian and North or Eastern European countries that don't endorse the behavior that we love, but play a big part in Twitch's success. And at a certain point, and I was going to talk about this last week, but at a certain point, Twitch and other people that you want to work with, if you want to create content and work with another company, they're going to look at those liabilities as they relate to those countries and maybe rule you out as an option because of it. So I figured, I don't know. So I bounced
You
back and
did
forth.
it because you didn't want it to prohibit your success,
Right, and then I realized, and I go back and forth between, well,
or
fuck
at least
success.
was
I
the
do this for
indication from
me and
other
for my
people, right?
friends, and I create content because I want to be true to me. Fuck it, I'll leave the camera on while I take this hit. And other times I'm like, well, it would be pretty cool if you could make this a fucking thing, and then I turn off the camera. And then
Right.
then I think to myself, well, but if you're gonna make it a thing, you're gonna make it a thing by being genuinely you, and like, you're gonna want to be yourself and the truest representation of yourself. So I turn it back on. And then I'm like, well, you know, if you want to make waves in an industry and set precedents in an industry, you have to make it into the industry. And then I turn it off. So I don't know, bro. It goes back and forth. I
Dude,
figured.
that is so what I love to hear because I had the same thing, man. It's you just like, am I a groundbreaker? Am I a visionary? Or am I just another fucking guy doing like, what is the point? Like, do I true? Like, I went a different. Well, it was also when I started, I was in a different like I was in a different relationship than I am now. And they had kids, so I was not smoking in the house.
Okay.
First off,
Okay.
so it was more like every hour, every 2 hours,
X-ray
I
goes
would
for a
take a
walk.
5-minute break, bathroom stretch break. I never really, and then a couple times I would be like, "You seem different." Like,
Imagine
like
that
about the
coming up in
same,
conversations with their friends, right? Well, you know, this guy that lives with us,
yeah.
he takes a
He
5-minute
takes a 5-minute
bathroom stretch break, he
bathroom
calls it,
break
and people are gonna
every
go,
minute.
he does what now?
No, every hour, like he does a what? He has to piss. He's like, everyone like, dude, go check your prostate. They were
Yeah.
like, this is bad. I was like, no, it's like this is what I want to do. And that was just the vibe of the stream. That was everyone would go take a 5-minute break, and they were fine with that. Didn't
Okay.
really come up. And then eventually people started asking. It more started being a thing.
Right. Came up in
Every once in a
conversations.
while, the kids wouldn't be there, and I'd be like, oh, do something like, oh, I'm gonna smoke real quick inside or something, throw it out the window, you know, some crazy
Okay.
shit. Oh, crazy. But it wouldn't really be something I would show. It would just be more like an energy just to go back. But once I got single, I went hard for like 3 months, 4 months, where I streamed literally every day. Every day I got home, till I went to sleep, and like just every minute I could be like awake, I was streaming. And so I was like, I'm smoking. Like, there's no reason not to be smoking. But I didn't really like. I was checking other people at that point. It was still really on the verge. I think that was like 2019, not really being popularized. There was a couple people doing it, but for the most part, kind of like I'm saying now, there's like either people that are getting big for it and being celebrated for it, or other people that have literally 0 to 2 people on their channel making it the biggest fucking hype that they're doing it. And it's like, all I'm looking is like, I'll pop in like, I see a big old bag of weed on your bed that's open, and I'm getting pissed off because you're getting it stale. Like, that's
Right.
all I see.
Right.
Like, that's the cool. Could look at your
Weird
wasteful
weird
fucking pillow
flex,
bag,
bro,
bro.
but
Cool.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. You like smoking stale shit. You're cool. Enjoy that in 2 weeks, you asshole. Like, yeah, I think weird shit. But it's a whole different state now.
Yeah.
Where I've actually incorporated it as more of an element where I still like the energy of smoking, and I don't go anywhere. This is my spot.
Mm-hmm.
But I now have created a meme recently that is called Feeding My Fish.
Oh yeah, I
And
love it,
we
bro.
now affectionately refer to weed on stream as fish food.
Okay.
And most people understand it, and some people
What
show up in the
is
first part like, what the fuck is
yeah,
going
what
on?
is the purpose for the is this just because it was a
It
good opportunity to create
literally,
relatability or
I hate to say it, like, but like with everything that happens, it kind of just happened organically.
okay,
Like, it was a weird one-time like, you know how many weird side references I
oh
make
yeah,
of shit?
absolutely, yeah.
I was like, one time someone was like, "What the fuck are you doing?" Because they heard the
Oh, feeding the
and they're
fish.
like,
You're feeding the
"What is that?" And I
fish.
was like, "Oh, that's the bubbles from the tank. I
I
was
see.
feeding my fish right now." And they laughed their ass off, and I was
Is
like,
that like an
everyone's like,
industry thing? Do people use
"All
that
right."
commonly to refer to weed smoking as feeding the
They
fish?
have
Anybody
no
know in
fucking
chat?
idea. No
Because
idea.
because honestly, that makes enough sense. Like it's grounded and well rooted enough to feel like maybe like because we're relatively speaking new stoners are folks in chat who've been smoking for like 30 years, right? Like
Right.
so if this is one of those
And I
things.
have been
Because
like
if not, like you're a
have
fucking you're a
worked in
trendsetter.
certain
Because that's
would
fucking
be interesting.
honestly, I think about it all the time. Every time I hit my bong, I'm like, oh, here I am feeding the fish.
Feed the fish.
Yeah,
Like, I'm gonna
and
get.
then I get a little giggle out of it, man. Like
We
if
named the fish. We got a whole bit with it. Like, it's
that's
one
the
of those
thing.
things. That's a
Well,
thing.
and here's the fun thing is that that's a brand you can carry on into a lot of different things, right? Think about it when you're a big real estate mogul or whatever you want to do with your life. And you like need to name stores and shit or airlines like Fish Food Airlines. You know what I
Dude,
mean?
that's the shit right there.
Fish Food Bakery and Goods, and it's just a fucking edibles bakery. Wow, how cool would that be? A whole ass, and I'm sure it's out there, but like Well, you know what we should also touch on real quick is why the fuck are we able to sit here and have a talk show about weed, but there's still folks who like are in prison about it? Like, not to get all social for a second, but I do think at a certain point we probably should just be like, oh, the only
I
thing on this
know
record is weed, lighter.
in my area at least, they've really released a lot of people for a lot of
Weed related
marijuana,
stuff.
especially during the whole Rona situation. And I know I specifically live in what we would call the Golden Triangle, where there's a crap ton of farmers. And from what I know from the sheriffs, they basically were basically very blunt, saying, "Yeah, the economy sucks. We're not going to bust anybody this
Do
year."
what you got to do.
So they do fucking go make money, and it was like,
Yeah.
"All right."
Make sure you pay your
And
taxes.
go pay it exactly. Like you're gonna go and we're gonna sell it to the dispensaries. The dispensaries are gonna fucking make money, and they're gonna fucking send it on home, and we're gonna
Yeah.
fucking
Yeah.
thrive and survive this fucking bullshit. So
Well,
it's
and I
like,
know folks
cool.
who have done exactly that. They didn't know what they wanted to do either after high school or after college. They tried a bunch of shit and it didn't work out. And then they started growing weed and all of a sudden they're these fucking moguls, right? And then like it's they're doing what they should be doing. They're paying their taxes, they're following the laws, and like they're fucking making it, and they fucking grow weed, but there's still people that like have to visit their families in like a visitor room because they got caught selling weed or whatever, right? Like,
That I can't be that I mean, that's what I'm thinking. That's when we started. When I started smoking, like when I started streaming and smoking, you would be thrown in jail if like that. It was I had my medical card, but they didn't give a fuck.
mm-mm.
Federally, I could get fucked at any point
Yeah,
for a little bit. I can remember when I started, I walking down the path, smoking a joint with somebody, and a cop saying, "This motherfucker swallowed the whole thing."
oh my god, while it was on fire,
Why it was lit?
he's like,
Just
you
like,
got me, stomach acid, right?
gone,
Esophagus,
yep,
go fuck
gone. What do you got,
yourself.
officer? Like, dude, that I'm gonna be telling stories to people that people are gonna talk like from Blockbuster Video
Right.
that they're not even gonna
What's
understand. Like, what's a
Blockbuster?
Blockbuster? You got to
Yeah.
go and pick it up. Like, they're not gonna understand that I had to go to a guy's house stories and had to go talk
Mm-hmm.
to this guy and this guy. We had to go. We drove for an hour and a half to get a quarter. They're not gonna understand this
No,
shit.
like meanwhile in our states, respectively, we have dispensaries that look like fucking Apple stores.
Imagine if the term the aquarium
Okay.
applied to fucking fish food.
Okay.
If you were like, dude, I got to go to the aquarium, you were going and rolling a J. Dude,
That would
that'd
help.
be so
That would,
crazy.
well, and then think of all of the
I really
different
fuck all
themes.
the aquarium
Think of all the
businesses.
themes that you could pull out of that. Nautical themes you could pull out of that. You could have specials. Like that's
Dude,
in
you could
terms
make
of
a type of
brandability.
fish for every type of weed.
Here's the
Like,
thing, X-Ray. You need to start branding that, man, because
I'm
it's
just
catchy. It's
saying.
catchy as fuck. You're true, like Fletcher said, a true visionary. So, in regards to Twitch streaming, Bruff asked earlier, what's the biggest challenge that you faced as a content creator, both in regards to weed and just in general?
Wow. Nice little think. Good, very good question.
Yeah, that's
I'm
Bruff's question.
trying to
All right,
think
yeah,
other than I don't know. I stream at a mature channel of
same,
over 18.
same.
So I'm never really worried about fucking up. Like, I say fuck shit. I talk. We have real conversations when I really like when I try to create content
I
and
know,
stream.
bro.
So
I'm
I'm
there.
not
That's part
worried
of why I'm
about.
there. Yeah.
I am worried about fucking. But if there was a 14, 15, 16-year-old, man, that guy's gonna get some real shit he wasn't ready for. Maybe like
Mm-hmm.
I don't really need that without a warning.
Right.
So
That's 100% why I put the mature filter up too. Yeah.
if I think about it, I can't really remember a time that I smoked or somebody knew I smoked where I really had a negative effect. I have some people that don't really enjoy it. I remember, other than like in general, like having an ex that would just not really enjoy, like think it was an issue. I have one viewer that I know of that doesn't like my current bong and the sound of the bubbles because they think it sounds like their kid blowing bubbles in a chocolate milk. So it gives them a weird like
So it has nothing to
bubble.
do with the weed. It's
It has
more of the
nothing to do,
sound.
and it has nothing to do with the weed. It has the fact that that sound. I could be smoking a J and they wouldn't give a fuck. So it's
So,
like
okay.
literally tell her like the movie Old School, I'm like, hey, blah blah blah, earmuffs, and they'll
Okay.
fucking and they mute themselves. And because I don't, everyone knows what I'm gonna fucking do. And
That's thoughtful of
sometimes
you.
if I'm being nice, and I will mute myself and just blow the smoke so everyone knows, hey, smoking, but it's not a big fucking show and thing, but it's
Okay.
different energy. But that would probably be like really the only, other than like we were stressing about, is like self doubt as far as should I do it,
Right.
should I not? Is it gonna be a thing? If am I gonna make it a big thing? Am I gonna make it a if do I want to be a visionary? Is it being a visionary? Is it being cliche? Is it like I is it being true to like at this point it is. It's just more being who I am and not hiding, I guess, who
Sure.
I am
Sure.
and wanting to be open. And I feel like I've made not even more I've made friends, but it's another thing that we all have in common, I
Right. I know
guess.
every time
My
I show
core
up, you're
group
like, hey, man, let's smoke. And I'm like, oh, you already know I'm ready
where
right here. I didn't
I'm
click
like,
on the
I have
stream
a
until the
couple
bowl was
yeah, and
packed.
they're like, we have like 10 people on the same smoke schedule right
Yeah.
now. Yeah,
Yeah.
that we're all just like every hour, like, hey, is it time? They're just waiting. Fuck it. I almost should have a thing like,
Well,
fucking
fuck.
hurry
And
up.
we
It's that
remind you
time. Like,
too, right? Like
fucking,
if you're in
yeah,
the middle
five
of Cowboys
months,
and it's like the fucking time to smoke, your chat will be like, fish
right?
food? Question mark.
They'll start going. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's for I can't really remember. And actually, that's kind of crazy now that I think about it, because you would think that there would be something that I would think of, but not. But
But that's a good thing, right? That feels like a good thing. That there's
no,
nothing that there's not been like a huge like detriment to your content creation because of the fish food, as we're going to refer to it from now on, because let's build your brand here. Let's just start doing that now.
I don't know what my
Um,
biggest detriment on Twitch is.
well, no, I just
I
meant
just
like it's cool that weed hasn't brought that, right? Like you haven't gotten banned or nobody's like reported you or you haven't got like a warning letter saying, "Hey, you better stop smoking the devil's lettuce. This is a
I've had
good
a
fear."
couple. Like early on, I had like 2 or 3 people. Oh yeah, you're gonna get banned for this, you
Yeah, same.
fucker, or
I get it
something.
every time,
And
yeah.
it was like, all right. And I have not heard that in forever. But it's
Mhm.
kind of like it's a different energy we put on. People know what we're doing, but it's kind of like
It's like if you
we're
know, you
we're
know. If you don't know,
it's like we're our own little cool club, and
yeah,
you're on the
true.
inside, and we know what we're doing, but everyone
Right,
else is like, the fuck you got, you know, what the fuck is that going on? It's like, I smell it. It's like, yeah, but you don't know. What are you gonna do about it?
right,
Fuck off. It's
right.
legal.
What
We're
are you gonna?
totally
Right,
fine.
right.
We
Call
could
the
be
sheriff.
interfaced about it, and sometimes we choose to. And
It's
like
true.
right now, sometimes
That's
we'll
part of the
smoke.
trope.
We did cosplay the other day,
Oh,
and
tell me more.
we more embodied Ace, and we
Okay.
just smoked as Ace and said, "Well, Ace isn't giving a fuck. Ace can't get banned.
Fucking your Ace cosplay
Ace
blows my
isn't a
mind.
Ace isn't a real person. How can you ban a person that doesn't exist? He's just smoking." Like we
That's
did a
fair.
whole little bit, and it was like, but that wasn't us. Like
Yeah.
that
Okay.
was us, but it wasn't us. We had this. It was
So
nice.
so it was a nice way to like skirt that mental fence in your brain
It
of
was just a
should I
more of a
do this?
mental thing
Yeah.
and just a more
Cool.
energy we were putting on
That's
at the
cool.
time. We could have still done the other thing, but it was something we were choosing to do. So just showing different comfort levels we're more getting to as it's progressing on both legal stance, but also us as a content creator. I don't know about you. It's not hurting me. Just like in life, I was worried. Is it gonna hurt? Are people gonna run away? Is it gonna, oh man, because you ever see a drunk stream?
Yeah, all the
And that
time,
they're
dude.
like their big thing. It's my drunk stream. Well, in theory, I do a drunk stream every night, all night, but I'm smoking and
Right.
I
The
never get
stone stream.
wasted. But
Right.
I never
Well,
have
and you know,
that drunk stream energy. I don't under. So it's like I never wanted to
sometimes
do
those aren't
that.
comfortable too, right? Like the drunk streams, sometimes those go pretty
And you
poorly.
get to a point where you get uncomfortable, or I've had people that get sick on stream. They're
Yeah.
just like, that's disgusting.
I've
But
seen I've
you
seen where
never want
people
to
just
see
pass
someone
the
not
fuck out
handle their
at their
shit.
desk, right? Like put
But
their
that's
head down
basically
and
what that
out.
is.
Yeah.
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 They're like, when they gonna fail? Are they
Right.
gonna fail? How bad?
Right.
How many shots can I make them do for a
Right.
dollar? All right, like,
Right. And I don't know about you, but
really?
I don't want that kind of community. I don't want the fraternity party only my friends when they can
Right.
laugh at me kind of thing, you know? That's a really good way to put that. And well, and the smoking thing, you're 100% right in that for me it's also
Matrix.
built like a bit of a sub community in the community of people who are smoking together, right? Folks who will pop in and say, "Hey, I got a joint ready, you ready to smoke?" Or, I do still have a channel reward point thing up where it's redeem amount of points and let's smoke a blunt together. I'll sit down, I'll put myself in just chatting in
For
between matches.
30,000
Is
points?
that a
Holy
lot? I don't
shit!
know.
I don't know if that's a lot. I don't have nearly that much.
Well, yeah, but like
Oh, that's crazy.
But to your credit, I haven't been streaming that much, right? So
True.
I
I
will
haven't been
say
racking out.
I do see you lurking sometimes, and I just want to publicly say I appreciate it. I know the common Twitch rule, don't call out your lurkers, and I
To
know
be
that you're
fair,
there just to
right.
chill. But
I will call them out, but I just say I appreciate them, but I don't really be like, "Hey, you." But I've gotten better. I used to have a program where I would dude, it drove me crazy.
would tell
I'm
you
gonna
where
be
people
totally
pop
honest.
in and out of your
Oh
chat.
my god, I can't even
Uh-oh.
imagine.
I have
I can't
nightmares about it.
recall it.
I have nightmares
Oh, I
about it
got rid of it,
sometimes.
and it's so much easier. I
Chatbox or
forgot.
whatever it was called.
It
Yeah.
was, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
they would actually it would show Bowborne showed up. And then
Bowborne left.
Bowborne would still be there, and it would fucking show that he left, and my anxiety would go. I'm like, "Wait, Bowborne left me," and he'd be like, "What the fuck do you mean?" I'm like, "What is it doing to me?" Like,
Yes.
oh, I hated that thing.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and it's a problem with the securities, right? Like they can't that can't be accurate if if the
Oh,
Twitch
it was totally not. No.
and well, and it will also show like if I tab away but leave the volume on, which while I'm watching a stream, I do all the time because I'll be honest, I don't give a fuck about Dead by Daylight. Everything I know about Dead by Daylight, I know because of you, and that has
Dude,
helped
there's
me.
so many people I know
But
that do that. Yeah.
right,
That's
right,
just not sometimes that's not their game, but other
right.
people, that's their
But
game.
yeah, bro.
So,
But so like if you're playing something I don't give a fuck about, like I'll listen, and when you're talking, I'll pop over and chat, and you know what I mean. But if I don't have the tab up, it doesn't count as a viewer. I've noticed that. So or if I mute the tab because I want to listen to a song or watch a video
yeah.
or
If I
whatever,
really got
right?
my lurkers in one day, well, I really think Twitch keeps changing that shit too. But I would really have to figure out if we ever got, one of us gets that partner thing going. We just got to figure out when our lurkers like, what point do they have? Do they have to do this? Do they have to
Oh
do
yeah, give
that?
us some fucking
What do they
parameters here.
need to do so so they can do what they want to do and not fuck us?
Mm-hmm.
Like, how much
Mm-hmm.
science do we have to do ourselves? To the
Eh,
point where I might just, hey, everybody in the channel, let's just do this right now so I can figure it the fuck out. Like,
right, right. Well, and I think that's a good way to start to move into relating it back to Twitch, and then I think generally speaking, and not to get too much into the state of Twitch things, because like you talked about the other day, it's not a fun combo these days. But like it really does lend into us as content creators. We as content creators do need a lot more clarity in a lot of areas and a lot of parameters, because I don't know about you, but when I'm creating content, I'm doing it in mind to be consumed either by a person who finds it entertaining or by me later when I'm judging myself, right? Like one way or the other. It's help us keep in mind things that will help the both of us, meaning the content creator and Twitch, become successful. Like we need to know the things that we need to know, like the whole DMCA thing. I don't know about you, but I spent probably 2 years creating content with music in the background going, one of these days we're gonna get a whole lot of nasty emails, right? Like what? I got to check out how much money, this is illegal. And then one day everyone's like, delete all your clips, delete all your clips, the lawyers are coming. And I was like, wow, it'd be really cool if we fucking knew that. It'd be really cool. And like to relate it back to the topic, weed, like we don't know shit about weed. If you have you tried to research, can you smoke weed on stream? Have you like ever Googled that?
when I at one point, well, of course, I've tried to figure I actually have, and as far as I know, I've looked up all like actually read on Twitch's actual page. As far as it's legal in your state, as far as whatever you're doing in your state, you're allowed to do. If you're 21 and over and you can drink, you're allowed to drink. You can't fucking snort cocaine, you
Because it's not
can't
legal,
shoot
right? Anyway.
heroin, but if you can fucking smoke in your state, they're saying okay, because there were people that became partners and other people that got freaked out, and other, like a lot of content creators that were small that watched other people go big, all jumped on the let's fucking ban this fucker, and then
Mm-hmm.
we'll watch, and then they all sat there and went, what the fuck?
Why
And
is he still
we're like,
here?
why didn't he do it? And they don't give a fuck. And they all, like, I was like, dude, they don't. I was just because it basically it happened on a meme for me where I was sitting back one day and I saw somebody smoking, so I just followed him, and I just sit back and so far have watched this ride of like rise to fame and what and heard all these
Is it
stories
a
and just
just
been like,
chatting stream?
this is crazy. No, they play a lot of different games in general. They're a variety gamer.
Okay. One of
And
us.
fairly big. Yeah, fairly big. Yeah.
That's crazy.
And uh Yeah, I don't think they would mind if I threw the name out, but I don't think I will for some reason.
That's up to you, man. It's like, especially if folks want context. I mean, I guess we should believe in human autonomy and give people, if they want to know, they'll ask, right? Like, if
Right?
you can
Like,
put it in chat because I'm interested, but I know that if you tell me out loud, I'll forget. So,
right.
well, and so I think that kind of lends into the topic overall, and asking.
I will also say,
Go ahead.
right now, I know of a person on stream that has been streaming for 700 hours at all at once. So that's going over 2 Twitch guidelines right now because they're also sleeping on stream for the
And
majority
you're
of
not
it.
allowed to do that.
They're not allowed to do that, and you're not allowed to go longer than 48 hours.
Oh,
So
really? Well, so what? So does it say that there needs to be a break? Do you just have to turn it off and turn it back on again?
100%, because I also know a wildlife cam that goes 24/7, and when I host them, the only reason I fucking stop is when they take their break that they're supposed to at 47 hours and 59 minutes.
And then they just start the stream back up. And
And then they start it 1 minute later
so
and
this person who's
continue
been live
again.
for 700 hours doesn't do that.
And this other person that I know that's been live for 700 hours doesn't do that, and Twitch doesn't give a fuck. So
So the answer is even though we're not getting busted or taken down for smoking weed on Twitch, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's something we could be doing. And
it
I
still
wasn't
means
lying
there's
when I
that
said I
gray
read the
area where
affiliate
I
thing.
feel I'm
Yeah,
okay
me
or I
too.
wouldn't be
Yeah,
doing it,
right,
but there's other people that I know they're doing shit you shouldn't, and they're not getting punished.
right.
So
So like,
I could be in that gray area that I
well,
don't know about.
and only to lightly touch on it because we mentioned we didn't want to talk about it, but now they're banning words that like people don't give a fuck about. So like, not only are
Right.
they not focusing on areas where they say they're focusing, but they're also focusing on areas that we don't give a fuck about.
Did you watch the Twitch the recent Twitch VOD where they
No, I don't.
addressed certain
I don't,
issues?
bro. I don't. Honestly, it
I had to.
infuriates me.
As
Okay, tell me
as
more.
a content creator, I had to watch a
Tell
little
me
bit. I'll
more.
give you a little clip notes because I got a little clip notes. Um, they did advertising. They stretched a little bit on advertising, and they admitted that their advertising is kind of a fail.
Yeah, dude.
But
Enroll drives me away from a stream faster than anything else.
they basically said like I've tried to click on people's streams, and when you see a new person, hey, I've never seen Jupiter before. I've never let me click on him, and then all of a sudden ad wall
Yeah, for like 3 minutes
for
sometimes. Yeah,
unclickable, and you go to YouTube or anything else, you can't click away. There's things that are made easy that they say they're trying to make. Now they're trying to just make it more. They say targeted, which I don't think is going to make better. That's just going to make it more targeted.
right.
And
That's just
they
a
were talking
corporate
more
way of them
about
saying we're going to do something, but it's not going to be anything meaningful to you. We're just putting action to words
yes,
so that you feel like we're
yes.
doing something.
They talked about like it's the creator is always running ads. That's where all the ads come from, not us running these. But yeah, we have to make money. It's like, do you have any idea how much money you guys fucking have now?
Right, right, right,
Because of this, everything that Twitch has rolled out is revenue based
right. Well,
for the
and
last fucking year and a
right,
half now.
and Soda Poppin' has 30,000 subs. 30,000 subs. If there was still
And
a
it doesn't matter.
50-50 split there, that's a lot of money for that company.
I still think you take all the partners. I still think you take it could be a 50-50, but I still think you take all the partners and you take all the affiliates and you take half that revenue that's going to Twitch. I think the affiliates are giving Twitch more money
Oh,
than the partners.
absolutely. Well, and that was the most genius marketing move that Twitch has ever done, was introduce affiliate, because it was, hey, if you can give yourself
Uh-huh.
this attainable goal, we'll give you a way to bring money to yourself, but secretly they mean to themselves. Because if I've been in Twitch streams where they talked about their splits, even though contractually they're not allowed to. We know that.
I've seen partners do it. So
Yeah,
like
well, and in
actually
the
show
partner
it on
contract,
stream and be like, yeah, look at this.
right,
And I'm like,
right,
whoa.
and in the partner
Yeah.
contract, you're not allowed to, because
Oh, you're
people have
not.
shown the partner contract, which you're also not
And they
allowed
say
to
the
stream.
split is bull.
Yes.
Yeah, I said like I
Yes.
was like, whoa, look at this split.
Holy
Yeah,
shit! So you're
guys,
telling me
yeah.
that this person is making $240,000 a month, and so, but yes, because all of these people, sure, all of us small streamers have like what, anywhere from 0 to 100 to maybe 200 subs if we're starting to get some real traction there. But
Roughly,
like,
yep.
that's just
I've
people
seen
that we
less
know.
with, yep.
Basically, you've introduced word of mouth marketing, especially by getting with Amazon. and doing Amazon Prime free sub, and very intentionally making it to where that sub does not auto renew because it drives traffic back to their site on purpose, then I think affiliates make Twitch way more money because there's way more of them, and that engages a whole new audience that they had no chance of engaging otherwise, which are the poor victims of my Facebook feed when I say, "Hey, my talk show's live. Come hang out for a little bit." Right? They're like, "Oh shit," and then
I will say I do not. I've been checking out other Twitch streams
yeah,
that focus on weed in general,
yeah,
and I've noticed there's a couple gaining traction that are really just garden streams. Like, I'm doing gardening of marijuana. Come check me out. Hey, I'm literally just trimming for 8 hours, and that actually gaining traction. I've
I
not
believe
yet
that.
seen a partner from weed, but I am seeing
That'd be interesting.
partner-ish numbers from what I'm seeing. And it's like, because
So
I had
maybe like
somebody, like
soon,
I had somebody I was at, and they got followed, or they hosted somebody else, and they went, "Oh, were you gaming?" Is like, "I wish, I was too busy trimming." And I'm like,
right?
"The fuck? Well, how are you?" And I was like, "Oh, he literally sat there and trimmed for fucking 7 hours and talked to chat." I was like, I've trimmed, you know how many times I've trimmed for hours and hours and hours and hours? I've never once trimmed on stream. It was, "All right, trim, 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 stream."
Right.
There was, I wouldn't even come across my mind. So that to me is just groundbreaking, that's now content on Twitch that's not being taken down. If anything, it's celebrated.
Yeah, it's getting a lot. Well, and it'd be interesting to see if a stream of that origin does get partnered, because like I said, we need a lot more clarity on a lot of things on Twitch, and weed is probably, and I would say consumption in general, but specifically weed because it doesn't have the same effects that alcohol does. I think that making a blanket, hey, do or don't imbibe these substances list is fucking stupid, as Richard Nixon has highlighted. That I think that there needs to be absolute and definitive clarity on where they stand on weed, especially if it pertains to partnership. Like, hey, just to be, especially for a company who says we're transparent. Like, put in a partner contract. Hey, until it's federally legal, you can't smoke weed on stream. We get it, it's legal there, but you're representing us now. Try not to do that anymore. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, at least give us, because at that point, then people can make a informed decision on, I'm going to stop smoking on stream so I can be partner, or I'm going to keep smoking until that's not longer a thing, and I don't care about being a partner until that's the time, right? So
And
I,
it's like, I don't know if people
there's
are
so
doing
many,
that. Like,
so much
most people get partner, then they
ambiguity,
change their direction anyway,
right?
So it's like, did they get told? And I haven't really reached out to these people. Hey, did they tell you to slow the fuck down? But I noticed you stopped chiefing way fucking a lot.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
like,
I think that'd be interesting to find out, to see if those were the reasons. And I mean, I know obviously I'll keep you informed if that ever comes across my doorstep in terms of
I also
opportunity.
have another question for you.
Hit me,
So
send it.
we were talking about you having to stress on, like, this isn't a drunk stream or like a drinking stream.
Right.
But like, how do you feel about, like, we're more smoking socially,
Sure.
normalizing being a regular smoker. But if anything, what I'm saying is, if I'm going on another place, it's, hey, like, look at my 5 pound or 5 gram joint, or I'm like, this is me. This is why I've been streaming a little bit. Like, hey, look at my little stem. Like,
I've seen
it's
it.
like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna stream. It's like they're smoking at such an excess that it's almost like they're creating bad habits, and almost that level I feel is, oh, it's either it's
Oh, like
overused, but it's also
self-damaging,
like, almost so, like, to a point where
which
it's,
is a violation of Twitch's
which
TOS.
it would make it more of a gray area and hurt us as social regular smokers of, hey, I'm doing, like,
Oh, because it
look
would
at me,
create a
I'm
bad
dabbing till I'm
representation.
passing out,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
just that is where it's really,
Oh,
but I've been
because it's like
seeing that
kids
more.
eating Tide Pods, right? Now all of our Tide Pods have child-safe locks on them when they used to come in just a little box. Like, not to get into the whole, oh my god, those stupid millennials, because I fucking hate generational talk. But, like, there is something to be said about precedents created in industry through negative representation, and I think that you're absolutely right. I think that that is a risk. I think that that is a liability to us as content creators who consume socially, um, and like, I guess I don't want to say habitually, but like as part of a routinely, right? As part of their day to day. I think that that's absolutely. Is that the question? Is to be clear? Is do I think
Yeah,
that's a
because
detriment?
I
Yeah,
don't feel because you're not when you're going live on like a Wednesday, your stream isn't smoking fucking soap smoking till I drop or
yeah,
fucking I'm
yeah,
smoking my fucking my the biggest fucking J or look at this it's a baby's arm y'all like
yeah.
no you're like hey I'm playing Guild Wars and I'm smoking regularly like
Sure, sure.
it's yeah that overuse that draw I feel is just it brings attention to
The
it
whole
in a
situation.
negative
Yeah,
way
yeah. Well, I mean,
and
and
it's
there's
one
just
of the
something.
few times it's in a negative light
I
in
think so
on this
too.
on the platform.
I think so too. That's a good way to. That's a good way to highlight that struggle for sure. Well, and I would be lying if I said I never did a turn up stream, right? Especially like on Friday nights, it's hey, come play Mario Kart with us on a Friday night. Let's get real fucking stoned. And then it was hey guys, look at this fucking joint I'm lighting. And like I said, just again the channel points thing, the whole hey smoke a joint with me.
Every
But it's
once in a
not
while,
like
I have
right. But it's
it's
not
like
a
that
every
would be a
fucking day
social
thing.
event, but
Right.
yes.
Well, and we do also have to highlight the differences in effect between drinking and smoking because I mean there's science to prove that you are far more inhibited while you're drinking and far more likely to ignore your best judgment. What you need as a content creator, you need to be aware of what you're creating and putting onto the internet and like
I will say I've never blacked out while smoking,
right, me either. Ever.
and I've
Ever.
never poured beer down a woman's pants when I smoked too much, but I've done it while I was drinking.
Right. Well, and exactly. There's shit that I've done drunk that I would never ever do normally.
Like, why
So
would I
yeah.
do that
So
shit
so
when I'm smoking?
so I
But when
think
you're
it's
drinking, you're just like, I got a great idea,
yeah.
y'all. Like, it's
Let
a
me
whole
tell you.
different
I
mentality.
bet you if we packed that snow, we could make a ramp. Yeah, no shit. Well, and there's a whole ass trope about drunk people doing stupid shit and breaking shit and like that's a whole ass thing. But high people, and I guess this is probably a way where the stigma associated with laziness is probably beneficial, but high people are far more likely to get stoned, sit around and kill a bag of flaming hot Cheetos, right? Like
Just like, yeah, we're doing a chip and something night, and everyone's
there you
like, oh,
go.
fuck yeah,
Hey,
we're
what do you
fucking
think
rocking
about
it.
that one chip challenge that everybody's doing? Have you eaten that thing?
All right, I'll be real. Anything that fucks with your body while streaming, I'm
Bad
not a
idea.
fan of.
No.
I've already
Well,
tried it
except for
during the
weed, right? Like
except that doesn't fuck up my body. That
right.
enhances my
Oh,
body
oh,
at
I
this
see what
point.
you mean. I see what you mean. That like
If
that
it ever
causes.
fucked me up, I would stop and then it would go down. Like
I
there's
see what you mean.
no
There's a
like I
line.
would
There's a
never keep
line.
going up. Yes, but like I've done a subathon where I've only done one subathon ever. But I tried to do like crazy shit where one time I was like, oh, I'll try all these different sodas and tell you what that was like taste test them. It's like I felt sick to my anything that makes you not want to be there for some reason you have to be there, whether
Oh,
it's a
oh,
hot chip or something,
yes.
I
I
feel
I
is
agree with you.
totally detrimental to you.
I feel like a monkey doing backflips when I do stuff like
Yeah, you're
that,
like,
right?
"Hey, I fucking hate my life, but
Well,
hi, I'm here."
hi.
Like,
I'm glad
no,
you
no, no,
like
no,
to
no,
see
no,
me
no.
crying. Yeah, I agree. I'm 100% in the same boat. Well,
That's how you end a stream. Like,
yeah,
and I'm done.
yeah.
Like, hey, this is the last bit. You're gonna see this. I'm gonna cry, and then I'm gonna go like die for whatever.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Well, and I'm in general opposed to suffering as an entertainment
But
source,
didn't they
right?
ban the chip thing? Because isn't that considered a form of self harm? I
I'll be
thought
honest
at
with
some
you.
point.
In regards to what we talked about earlier, I don't keep track of what they ban and they don't ban because they don't seem to keep track of what they ban and they
Fuck,
don't ban.
wouldn't you?
Did
Like,
you?
you know how many people do the Burt's Bot Harry
Yes,
Potter beans
yes,
that are
yeah,
that could be considered so it's fucking
yes.
boogers. That's nasty. I don't
It's
want that.
gross. I'm
Ugh.
not. No.
Ugh.
Yeah. No, I don't. Well, and like I also avoid playing horror games on stream for the same reason because that is 100% suffering for entertainment as far as I'm concerned.
I stopped, yeah. I used to
Um,
have people do like Outlast and a bunch of things. I
yes,
can't,
yeah. Well,
no.
and I've had folks suggest, hey, you should play a horror
But
game,
suspense horror
and
games, I
then
would say
yes,
good.
well,
Yes.
and get a heart rate monitor, and that sounds entertaining to me just to see like how that affects me from a medical standpoint, but also like I that and then that leads back into do I want to be doing something that is creating good content while not also creating content, right? The content creator's dilemma: do I want to do this thing or do I want to create content while doing this thing? Yeah, dude, it's that's the way it be. So in conclusion, I think that we're walking away with we need more definitive rules on cannabis consumption and content creation, just generally speaking, but also be true to yourself and create the content that you want to create and pivot when you encounter obstacles. How does that sound?
Dude, that's a book that I would fucking be happy to sign, dude. That's well put, man. That's well put. That's good synopsis.
All
I
right.
like it.
Thanks, man. Well, and it only took 3.5, what is it, through 2.5 hours? Almost
No, that
three
was
and a
like
half
three and a
hours?
half hours on the
Yeah.
dot, man. You crushed it. Thank
Yeah.
you so much,
Yeah, of
everybody.
course, man.
It's been great.
Hey, everybody, that was X-Ray underscore Blacksmith. I spammed the fuck out of his channel. If you haven't followed that man, please do so. As you can tell, excellent conversationalist, overall wonderful human being. I'm glad that we took this time to kind of get to know each other. You know, I do get a little bit rambly, but y'all knew that already. And for those of you who didn't know that already, welcome to the show. That's what you have to expect. X-Ray, I hope I gave you enough time to talk. If not, let me know and we'll do another one because it was lovely having you on. And I would love to see it happen again in the future. Please make sure that y'all join us next week, again at 11 a.m. Mountain Time. Let's see what the topic's going to be. Let's take a little peeksy doozle at the spreadsheet here, all right? Let's see if I got a scene for this. Oh, man, that's just for you. That's for both of us. I think I can do a screen capture. Pow! Solving problems. So next week, this is going to be a good episode. Next week, we're going to talk about physicality and how it affects us. I also want to talk about how it affects us in content creation, so y'all remember that. We have a wonderful guest on next week, Romelia Claymore. She's over on Instagram, and that link is on the spreadsheet here, which I will give y'all a link to. Make sure you follow that if you want the updates. If you have suggestions, email me. I'm going to be putting a lot more topics up. I have a shit ton of them written down, as you can see here. Boom. So we are going to be putting a lot more slots on here for folks to jump in. So yeah, y'all, that's the show. I will see you all then. But until then, please, nope, not that one. Nailed it. Have a fantastic week. I want you to just take this energy throughout the rest of the week. Have a good fucking time with it, all right? Until then, see you later. We should come up with a catchphrase. Maybe we should just start cutting out the stream mid-sentence. That would be a good part of the brand. I feel like that would